seconds to a minute to actually see it come up on your. So it says that it's going live. It might take 1 second to pop up on our phones. While we're waiting to stream it to the group, thank you again, Barry, for your help and participation in many of the events that we've hosted and things like this, a hangout. And as I mentioned, we were talking right before the call, our whole goal in doing this was just to help the industry communicate better, to help folks learn what things they should be watching and how they should be advising their consumers, and ultimately putting folks in the position to make good decisions and being confident about the decisions. Does that sound about right?
Oh yeah, you guys are doing a great job, man.
I like it. So I'm kind of working to share it off the page into the groups that we're in. So while we're waiting for that, could you just talk a little bit about where folks would normally find you, where they would find information that you're putting out there? Because I know we see in our Facebook groups, we see it on the Mortgage News Network, and we're always trying to get as much information as we can. Where's a good place to find Barry most days?
Well, MBS Highway, obviously, that's the first place to start, and then of course, if you know, you mentioned that MNN does a piece every week that I talk about where the market is and what to expect both on the real estate side and on the mortgage side. And then our friends at the National Real Estate Post, who we all love, you know, Frank Garay and Brian Stevens, those guys are kind enough where they have me on pretty regularly to give an update on the marketplace. So those are three spots that are pretty easy to find me.
Awesome.
And of course, if people, as you know, people oftentimes ask or tag me in one of your groups if they have a question, and I'll do my best to expediently get back and try to answer their questions.
Now, I'm going to put you on the spot here. I didn't prep you for this question, and it's perhaps a little against your nature. It's self-serving, I guess, but how many loans have you closed in your career? I mean, in volume, it's a lot. The
volume that I did in my career is just a little over $2.1 billion in my career, which is an average of $100 million a year for the 21 years I was an originator. And it's probably a little bit harder to do loans today because there's more regulation, but we did have lower loan size averages when I was originating because values have gone up. Mm-hmm. So I'm very proud of that as an originator, and I think that's one of the reasons why we've been able to really relate to loan officers is because I'm one of you, and I understand what it's like. When we've created tools, I tried to do things that worked for us, and I'll tell you what, guys. Here's the thing: is that right now you're under attack. Okay, you're under attack by technology, and you've really got to open your minds and change the way that you do business. And I mean this. I mean, you really have to think about the way you do business, because if I were to take, you've got in your group 2,500 LOs, goodness knows how many people will be listening to this. If I were to ask every single one of you and I would say, hey, are you an advisor or are you a salesperson? I'd ask 1,000 real estate agents, are you an advisor or a salesperson? Everybody's going to raise their hand and say, I'm an advisor. Well, you know what I'm going to say to that? BS. Why? Why are you an advisor? Why? What makes you an advisor? Why? Because you know how to read a tax return? Oh, really? You know how to qualify someone? Really? You know a Fannie Mae guideline that makes you an advisor? Folks, that's the price of admission. Have you seen the Rocket Mortgage commercial? It's very well done with Michael Keegan Key, where they portray the mortgage professional as a bumbling idiot. If you have seen it, I bet you that it pissed you off, and it should. But folks, at the end of the commercial where he grabs the phone, he says, yeah, this takes care of that. Don't allow yourself to be in that position. And look, there's going to be a wake-up call for you, because you better make some changes to the way you do business and really be an advisor and walk the walk, not just talk the talk. You don't want to be a travel agent, right? Travel agents used to be on every corner, right, guys? Remember that? I mean, the millennials who are listening are saying, what the frig is a travel agent, right? Yeah, exactly. But they got eliminated because of technology.
Right. And
we can't let that happen to us. Take a page out of some stockbrokers. Now, when $9.99 online trades came out, stockbrokers got decimated. But the ones that stood up stood around, they were the ones that were advisors. And now they're making more money, and they've got client bases that are loyal, that they're charging fees based on assets under management. Do you have debt under management, or are you transactional? Because if you're transactional, please be careful and open your mind.
I love it. And that's a wake-up call for all of us. And, we've seen other folks in the industry trying to potentially devalue us. I know Frank and Brian have been talking a lot about that recently, and we're not going to spend a lot of time getting into that, but what is your value? What is your value proposition? That's something we see folks talking about in the social media groups as loan officers a lot. What's your value?
Yeah, well, if I could just share just a story. I love stories, okay? I love stories and talk about stories all the time. So in the 1850s, there's a guy in Europe. His name is Ignaz Semmelweis. You could look him up, Ignaz Semmelweis. So Ignaz Semmelweis worked in obstetrics. He helped with baby deliveries. He helped throughout Europe in all different hospitals. Some of the hospitals were the wealthiest hospitals with the greatest minds and doctors in Europe. Some of the hospitals had very poor physicians just starting out, and the people were indignant. Some of the people were so poor they lived on the streets, but yet they were having babies, right? So he noticed a pattern. In the poorest of hospitals, the rates of infant survival were much greater than those hospitals that had the richest and the wealthiest and the best doctors with the highest reputations. He said, you know what? At that time, those poorer hospitals, they were taking people in off the street. They were dirty. The doctors washed their hands. And the man associated hand washing with better infant mortality rates. He goes to the elite hospitals, and this assistant tells these elitist physicians that you should wash your hands. Well, they said, wait a minute, you mean insult our customers? Insult these wealthy people thinking that we have to wash our hands before we touch them? You must be crazy. In fact, you are crazy. And they had the man committed. Literally, you could look up the story. Committed. He's now committed to an insane asylum. The guy's not insane. He resists. The guards beat him, and they beat him to death. Guy dies. Ignaz Semmelweis dies. Same year as he was beaten to death, Louis Pasteur comes out with the bacteria theory, and Joseph Lister, yes, Joseph Lister, guess what product was named after him? Listerine, comes out with the germ theory, and people discovered that indeed hand washing is vital. So the question that we should all ask ourselves as we begin today's talk is, are you too good to wash your hands? Are you? I'm not. I certainly not. I try and learn every single day. So as we start talking today, you got to start thinking, am I ready to learn? Am I ready to maybe change a few things so that I can protect my business into the future?
I like it. TJ, what questions do you think the loan officers and the buyers come across most often where, relying on Barry and some of the tools that he gives us really makes a difference? I know we were talking about this right before we started the call.
Right. I mean, obviously, we know that the biggest thing, and I think actually this is probably where we all get hung up, and we shouldn't, it's obviously rate. But I think that really, Barry, and we were just chatting about this, one of the tools I love to use in MBS Highway are your calculators and the buy versus rent in there. Because I think we kind of move away from rate and we talk about cost at that point. Again, and now we're talking a little bit more about value, right, Fish? Like I said, it's not just the situation of saying, hey, the rate's this and your APR is this, and et cetera. We're talking saying, hey, you're getting ready to take out the largest source of debt that you're probably ever going to have. Everybody says that your home's your largest asset. To me, I would say it's your largest debt until you get that thing paid down a little bit, right? So make sure you're doing it right. And I think that, the calculators that we have in here, Barry, that you have in here, and it's, again, for me, that buy versus rent, it's great, especially the way that you have it connected to our different areas, right? So it's not Fish up in Novi, Michigan, TJ in Bel Air, Maryland. I don't have to go and research anything. You've got that stuff already plugged in for us automatically. So, again, that's a long answer to your question, Fish, but I think that buy versus rent is one of the things that I come across a ton that, Barry, I use your system for all the time.
Well, thank you. So a couple of things. So first of all, let's talk about what you started off with was rate. Okay. So everyone understands that 4.5 is better than 4 5/8. We all get it. Okay. But wait a second. Hold on. It is. But if we're looking at it and saying how much is that better, have we taken the time to say, okay, on a $300,000 loan, it's $20 a month difference. Now, okay, there's 4.3 weeks in every month. So when you divide that and you say, okay, it's $4.50 roughly, round numbers, right? $4.50 a week. That matter to you that much? Just think about it a second. If you were doing great, TJ, and your employer said to you, hypothetical situation, TJ, you're doing great. I'm going to give you a raise, $4.50 a week. Would you notice it? Would you feel it? Can anyone today see a difference in $4.50 a week? Can you see that? Can you tangibly make a difference? Would it make any difference in any buying decision you made, in anything? Would it impact your life to any extent whatsoever?
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
not.
Mr. and Miss Customer, why are you freaking making me nuts over it, okay? Why? It will not make a difference. I can make coffee in a Keurig cup and get the same Starbucks coffee, and it'll cost me about 30 cents for the cup, and yet I'll gladly go and pay $5 for what I could spend 30 cents on. And if somebody's with me, how many times? I got you. $10. Could it cost me 60 cents? Happy to do it. Spend money, time, gas, wait online like an idiot. Have the person sneeze on me while I'm waiting online. Have a nasty person behind the counter and fork over $10 for what I could do for 60 cents. So get out of fighting the rate and get into showing what the value is of what it means and why it's so ridiculous. Now, you got to back that up because you just can't leave it there. You got to start talking about what makes sense to be focused on. Is it focused on that $4.50 a week? Which, by the way, TJ, if you got that raise, could you even go out to celebrate? You can't even afford to go celebrate. Say, man, TJ,
this
I take you
Wawa
out.
cup cost me $4.50. So.
I take you out for a beer, but I can only buy a half a beer with what I got as a raise, so I can't afford even to get myself one to celebrate, right? So team, you mentioned the buy versus rent, okay? Now, we do have a really interesting tool because people say, I got to buy versus baloney. Slow down here. You know this. This is something really special because we will tell you in every county, in every MSA, everywhere in the United States, anyone, we know what the cost per square footage is. We know what the cost to rent per square footage is. We know what rents are going up. We know what the appreciation forecast is going forward up to 15 years in that market. And we know the new tax laws, how to break them down, how to express them in a beautiful way. We can co-brand it. So let me give you some statistics. So typically speaking, about 9% of the population, 9% of the population fall into the category in almost every county of they are renters who can afford to buy. By the way, we'll give some credit. Shout back to Frank Gray and Brian Stevens, who on their show did a HARRI index, okay? Housing of affordability rental index, right? So renters who can afford to buy. About 9% of the population are renting, but they can afford to buy. Now, if they knew that it would benefit them by literally, in many cases, hundreds of thousands of dollars over the same period that they were going to rent that home, or at least tens and tens of thousands of dollars, who in their right mind would still rent? They wouldn't. The difference is they don't know. They say, well, my entry point is it costs me $300 more to buy than rent in some cases, so I'm going to rent. They think they're making a smart decision. They listen to idiots like Diana Olick on CNBC who have no clue what's going on. They listen to this Florida Atlantic University who makes a living out of trying to knock real estate. Imagine the poor folks who listen to these people, okay? How much wealth did they lose in the past 6 years, 7 years? So instead of that, if we showed them that you're going to make $175,000, would you rather be talking to that person or would you rather be fighting over the $4.50 a week? Okay. This is, everybody says I'm an advisor. You know, I say BS. You're an advisor when you start to do stuff like that. When you understand that the business you're in, you call it the mortgage business. Yeah, I'm in the mortgage business. Really? Is that the business you want to be? Is that the business you're in? Who wants a mortgage? Anybody you know really want a mortgage? Oh yeah, baby, give me more. Give me the bigger the payment, the better. You know what? Hold on, Michael, make the payment so I can't even afford to go out to dinner anymore. Please, that's what I want. Nobody wants that. You know what they want? They want money, because money facilitates how they get to the things that they want, to reach their goals, dreams, aspirations. You are in the money business, my friends, and you have to understand it. To be really good at it, you have to understand money. You have to understand how it works, what's going to cost them more, what's going to cost them less on a grander scale. Not a few bucks a week, but hundreds of thousands of dollars. I want to work with an advisor who's going to help me with hundreds of thousands of dollars instead of $4, instead of the cost of a Starbucks coffee.
Yeah, Barry, I think that is a huge paradigm shift for those of us in this industry that we need to get on board with, right? It can no longer just be, hey, here's your, back in the day it was like, here's your good fee, your good faith estimate, your itemized fee sheets, and now it's CDs and initial fee worksheets and et cetera. It is about how this is going to impact you both short-term and long-term, your total cost, and how it helps you achieve your overall goals. And I truly agree with you. I believe in you. I follow your teachings. I think it's so important for us. We call ourselves mortgage professionals, right? To truly be mortgage professionals and understand what the hell we're talking about. But like I said, and again, not to just try to continue to sell you, but I think it's huge. While you were talking, I ran a buy versus rent analysis, produced an incredibly professional presentation for a $300,000 home in my county with average rent, showing that someone will be gaining $170,000 out of this in about 30 seconds while you were talking right here.
So brother, here's the thing. That's, in my opinion, the difference between a professional. Because look, if you don't have access to that, and I asked you a simple question as a customer, is it better for me to buy or rent? Now, maybe the realtor said, oh, it's always better to buy. Maybe the mortgage professional says better to buy. But here's the real question. How much better? God forbid anybody listening, you have to go to the physician and should I have surgery? Should I do therapy? Should I do medication? What should I do? How long would it last? Is it going to be a painful situation? What if the doctor looked at you and goes, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Is that who you want? Is that a professional?
I think you bring up a great point, Barry. And I know Jay McMakin and I talk about it a lot in Military Mortgage Boot Camp. When you're trying to convince somebody to get on your side, you can't necessarily get emotionally antagonistic with them and convince them that you're right. But you can use stats, facts, real data to show them why you believe that it's important they pay attention to what you're saying. And, if that's our approach to marketing and that's our approach to being advisors by using real information, it's a lot easier to get folks to jump into our boat and roll along with us than it is to just get, like I said, emotionally involved, like a lot of us do as loan officers and realtors. I mean, we throw out one or two tiny stats and all of a sudden we're right because, I have this one stat this one time. But if you've got, it might seem simple to us because we stare at the stats behind the screen all day, every day, but we're not in the position to present those to our clients, and we don't always know how to present those to our database. And that's where I think some of us struggle is, we think we know this, but we don't have a voice, we don't have a presentation, and we don't communicate it in a way that folks really see us as a leader and advisor. So to me, what you're doing and trying to help us loan officers do, I think is critical at this point in time, because so many of us, like you said, have just taken that stance in the past of well, it's always been this way, it's going to be this way in the future, you got to work with us. And
well, yeah, that doesn't fly, guys, because look, to get back to that question, so if the realtor can't answer the question of how much better is it, if the mortgage professional can't answer it, how's the customer going to figure that out? They're going to go back to listening to people like Diana Olick. They're going to wind up renting, and they're going to fall into the 9% of the overall population. Now, I was just in San Diego, so I ran the numbers. There's 301,000 people in San Diego County alone, 301,000 people in San Diego County who can currently buy a home but who are choosing to rent. And in San Diego County, with appreciation levels, on average, for an average home there, you're looking at about a $300,000 benefit over 9 years. If they only saw that, who in their right mind would continue to rent. There are people in our industry that, like TJ, like yourself, use these tools, and you can obviously export it. You can co-brand it the way we've got it set up, and we've got a screen share tool, so you could screen share it. Even if people are on their mobile device, you could show it to them live, real time on their mobile device. So while they're out there looking at a home, they can make better decisions. It's all it's about empowering them to make the right decision. And by the way, our buy versus rent tool, we don't sugarcoat it. This is not a sales tool. This is a presentation tool. We will tell you all the bad things that somebody else's buy versus rent won't do. You see, while our tool, of course, we know the cost to rent per square foot, the cost to buy per square foot. We'll figure out a comparable rent based upon a price. While we know the forecasted appreciation, the historical appreciation, we know all of the rates. We make it so easy. We know the tax rates for each county around the country. We make it really easy for you. But while we do that, the thing of it is that as your customer now tries to make their decision, we're giving them not just the good stuff. We're giving them all the negatives. We're saying, hey, when it's time to think about this, think about the repairs. Think about the sales commission when you get rid of your home. Somebody said, Barry, that could be, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 on an expensive home. Yeah, tell them all the negatives. That's how you build trust, not by selling somebody. Tell them all the negatives, and that's what we try and do. Make a real presentation and let people make that decision from somebody they can now trust.
You're moving yourself from being a salesperson to an educator. And as you said, at that point, people have the knowledge to make an informed and educated decision. And additionally, if they're shopping you, the guy down the street's handing them a CD or an LE and saying, here you go, right?
Hey guys,
who are they going to trust?
Guys, I'll tell you a little secret, okay? So everybody in sales knows that, one of the real secrets about being great in sales is to be magnetic. So how do I become magnetic? Some salespeople, they're always successful, and you're just around them. They're just magnetic. What makes you magnetic? Here's the secret. The secret is when someone leaves your presence, make them feel smarter and better for having been with you. Think about that. How are you doing that, by the way? If you're listening to this, let me tell you, you have to really put the work in, okay? First thing you better start off with is, do you have a culture in your office where you're sharpening each other, okay? So let's think about this, team. So first of all, if you come into the office and your discussion is about, the ball game last night, the latest episode of This Is Us, the great movie you saw, the action at the bar, if that's your discussion, that's okay, that's fine. But why aren't you talking about what's going on in the market? Why aren't you talking about this morning's housing starts number? Why aren't you talking about what the Fed might do as far as starting this week, reducing their reinvestment in mortgage bonds and how that might impact you? How about the upcoming PCE report on May 1st, which, because of what we've explained in the past, shows that number is going to surprise people. We're probably going to get bad news in the bond market that day. How about having that discussion? Why would you want to do that? Why? First of all, somebody said, well, no, it's not really cool. It's not sexy. You want to tell you what's cool and what's sexy? Making a lot of freaking money, okay? That's pretty cool and that's pretty sexy. Making my kids.
Can I quote you on that? Can I?
Okay. Yeah. Giving my kids and people I love a better life. Doing things that allow me to have, that's pretty freaking sexy. But in order to do that, you better put in the work, okay? Hey, is it sexy to make a lot of money? I don't know. I think so. Case in point, Jeff Bezos, before and after Amazon, okay? Look no further than the before and after photos there, folks, okay? It's a pretty desirable guy. Now, if you want that, you got to train for it. And the fastest and the best way for you to make more money, here's another secret. By the way, I love when people bitch about, we're a quarter out of the market, I'm an eighth out of the market, I lost the deal because of rate. Look, first of all, this isn't a guy who ever had the best rates. This isn't a guy who's never wrote a loan and is going to preach to you about how rates don't matter. I know rates matter, okay? I've lost loans. Everybody loses loans. But you know how I want a lot more of them? By truly being an advisor. Because let me tell you something. While you might have lost where your rate was worse than somebody, how about all the rates? How about all the deals you lost when your rate was equal or better? Somebody else who was a better advisor took that loan away from you. You know, a professional boxer trains 1,000 minutes for every minute that they're in the ring. How many minutes are you training for when you're in the ring? How many minutes? Are you practicing? Are you practicing in your office and talking? Or when you get on the phone, you're afraid to even talk to market because you don't know it? Are you going to talk to market and wing it? You're going to wing it? Really? As a professional speaker for 26 years now, you think before I do a presentation, I get up there and say, let me think about what I'm going to talk about? Hours and hours and hours of preparation so that I can do a good job because I respect my audience. You respect your audience. When you get on the phone with a customer, have you practiced in your office? Have you talked about it? So when you get on the phone, you nail it? Are you in a position that allows you to give a wonderful performance that increases your odds? Your best way of making more money is take the deals you already have, the opportunities you already have, and turn more conversations into applications, more discussions with potential referral sources, and have them give you referrals. I'll give you another secret. Fast way to do that, record your conversations. What do professional athletes do when they're on the sidelines after the play? Now today they got iPads. They're getting, what's the film look like? What do they do Monday morning? Looking at the film. What did I do wrong? You're recording your conversations because you're not going to believe the crap that comes out of your mouth. Okay? Say, oh my God, did I really say that? No wonder why I lost the loan. Sharpen yourself. Sharpen yourself with your teammates. And then when you find something that you said you're like, man, I'm going to do more of that. I'm going to sharpen that. You will accelerate yourself through the sales process very, very quickly. But these are things that it's up to you whether you want to put the work in or not. I mean, I always talk about finding out what motivates you. You know, what does motivate you?
Well,
go ahead, Mike. You want to say something?
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, man. But
I was on a roll. Sorry.
You were doing really well. Just everything you're saying here, it basically you're telling the LOs you don't necessarily need a piece of tech or a script that somebody gave you one time. And that's where a lot of folks, I see the chats all day long. People spend all their time talking about this tiny set of details. Now, we're going to ask you to show some of the details that you have, and but it's more than that. It's a mindset of wanting to be a champion. And the tools are going to change. One day you're using wooden baseball bats, the next day you're using aluminum. One day you got a short fishing rod, the next way you got a long. There's a million analogies for that. But that mindset to be a champion and to find what works and to collaborate, with those in your office or lead others in the industry is what sets you apart. And that's where, I know a lot of folks in our industry have leaned on you for that kind of motivation. That's awesome, man. I know I just totally stole your thunder there, but
no, you're good. You're good. So look, what we really want to do is we want to make sure we have done the very best we can, and we want to find out what motivates us. Is it money? No shame in saying I'm motivated by money. I've been really, really poor in life, and I've been fortunate to have a little money. I'll tell you right now, having money is better. Okay, so it's okay. Be motivated by money. Are you motivated by your kids? Like I am. I want my kids to have a better life. I remember when I first started in the mortgage business, brain surgeon I am. I had twins. They're 2 months old. I decided I'm going to make a career change. Okay, get in the mortgage business. I could do this, right? Damn, realtors wouldn't talk to me. I'm a newbie. They don't want to trust me with their loan. So you think I said I quit? You think I said give up? You think that's part of my DNA? Shouldn't be part of your DNA, that's for sure. But your kid on the line, it won't be part of your DNA. I know that. I got to feed my kids. So what did I do? I went out at night and I knocked on people's doors and asked them if they wanted to refinance. Can I tell you something? It's true that some people actually did call the cops. Oh, there's a man outside my door. So here's the truth. My third week in the business, I wrote 16 loans. The company I was with had never had anybody in its history write 16 loans in a month, never mind a week. Third week in the business, wrote 16 loans. See, I wasn't too proud to wash my hands. I wasn't too proud to think about different things and think out of the box. I knew that I wasn't going to fail. And in this changing market, your attitude is no matter what, you're not going to fail. So find out what motivates you. Is it competition? Heck, the best competition is a competition with yourself. You hit a goal, set it higher. Push yourself to do everything you can. Is it your parents? I want to honor my parents for the sacrifices they made. I'm not going to waste the opportunity they gave me. Is it your significant others? Don't you want them to be proud of you? Of course you do. So tap into what motivates you and just go out and kill it. But you've got to be an advisor. You want to work smarter. You want to have tools that help you. I mean, every morning we do a morning update. It's 4 minutes long, 4 freaking minutes, okay? 4 minutes. You can't spend 4 minutes and watch it. Why? Too busy for 4 minutes? That's going to now give you a script for the rest of the day? Are you freaking nuts? 4 minutes. Increase your sales. Be more knowledgeable. Talk about it with teammates in your office. No, I don't got the 4 minutes. But heck, watch it while you're on the toilet in the morning. I'm not too proud. Be efficient, right? But watch it and take that every day and be better. Advise people as to what's going on in the marketplace. Show them what it would cost for them to wait. How many of you right now have a real estate agent that you can ask them, they'll tell you right now, I wish I could put a fire under the rear end of these people. They drag their feet. It's a hot market, multiple offers. I tell them. They deliberate and they lose the house. Or customer says, well, you know what? I'm going to go on vacation in the summer. When the fall comes, I'll be ready. You'll be ready. What do you think? The world stops for you? You really think so? We'll just all wait for you to be ready. No. What you've got to show is what's happening. Show what the appreciation would be. Show what the forecasted interest rate would be. Use real stats for that. Show them what the difference in payment is. What would they lose in appreciation? What would they lose in amortization? You show them that. You become your realtor's best friend, and you really advise your customer. You close everybody you talk to. That's the difference. You want to close everybody you talk to, or at least have a really good shot of doing so.
Love it, man. I love it. I don't have anything else to say. I mean, that's just like, wow. You need to be better. I did.
By the way, can you tell I'm a little bit passionate about what I do?
Yeah. I mean, you want the industry to be better. That's what we started out with before we even jumped on the call. I'm like, we want the same thing. We want.
So if people are listening, are you this passionate? Okay. 32 years doing this. I've had some blessings along the way. Okay. Are you passionate? Are you enthusiastic? When you get on the phone, do you talk like this to your client when you're on the phone? Geez, Michael, imagine if you asked me a question and I answered you like this. Will you have a freaking cup of coffee? Somebody, okay? Get excited. If you can't get excited about creating wealth for your customer, about achieving your own dreams, about doing things that are better than your competition, if you can't get excited about that, what are you going to get excited about? Be passionate. It comes through when you're talking to that customer on the phone. But don't be passionate for being passionate's sake. See what it is you could do. Be an expert first. Now, there's a lot of tools out there. Specific to our tools, do a real estate report card. See what the opportunities are. Use it to contact the listing agent. Less than 30% of mortgage professionals hit the listing agent. Show them a real estate report card. Say, yeah, your client's going to be, your potential buyer's going to be in really good shape. We've got them pre-qualified. They look good. And by the way, just to show them the opportunity, I showed them this great real estate report card to show them in the next 5 years they're going to make $135,000 by purchasing this home. And I co-branded it with the realtor. We could send it in English and Spanish. They love it. It really helped them make the sale. Oh, and by the way, here it is. You're telling me they're not going to say, hey, could you do that for me on all my clients? Of course they are. They've never seen anything like that. It works. The buy versus rent that we talked about, the cost of waiting, these are things that, by the way, we've got so many tools. This is, small sampling here. But these are things that can really make a difference for you, that are highly unique. There's nothing else like it because no one else has this data. I mean, use this stuff, team. Use it and be a professional. For what? And the cost is ridiculously cheap. We have a 97.24% renewal rate. 97.24. It's like unheard of. Why? Probably because we're too inexpensive and probably because we add some value. Okay? So think about those two things. Could we charge a whole heck of a lot more? We could. We don't need to. We don't want to. We want to help people. Take a look at what you have that you can benefit from. And if you don't like it, don't pay for it.
So what is it? Just do a quick screen share. Like I was almost ready to go through this whole thing and not even look at what MBS because I don't think I need to after hearing you talk. I mean, I use it, but I don't use all the tools.
What? I'll tell you what, TJ, you still have that up, or did you click out of it?
Hey, I just did a real estate report card while you were talking to us.
Come on, let's do it. TJ, do it.
Pull it up, dude. Screen share it.
By the way, folks, just understand this. Let's kind of, as we go, let's learn, okay? It's always very important that we understand this. On every transaction you do, on every transaction you do, please ask 2 questions. Okay? Question number 1, what are your thoughts after you've presented to them? What are your thoughts? And then please shut your mouth and don't tell them what their thoughts should be. Okay? Because what's going to come out is real gold. So TJ, when you ran this real estate report card, go ahead and do the real estate report card. Let's pick a market. Do Maryland. Go to any county you want to, and do it for the county. No, don't do the MSA. Do the county. Baltimore County, wherever you want to do it.
There we go. That's my home county right there.
So TJ, that's your home county. What do you see across the top? You see those badges. So the gold badges are top 10% in that category, silver top 20, bronze top 30. What are your thoughts about that, TJ?
I think that I got a pretty good county right here, huh?
Hell yeah. That's a very desirable place. And by the way, you see that inventory, there's only 859 homes for sale. You think it's a tight market there, TJ? What do you think about that?
I know it's a tight market, Barry.
Okay. And then, TJ, a lot of the realtors out there are concerned because the media talks about affordability issues. Affordability, because prices are going up. But when prices go up, that's not what governs affordability. It's also based on income. And I see that you're in the top 10% in the country in median income and jobs. So, TJ, on the affordability piece right there, is that potentially why? Just go up a little bit, brother. Is that why that affordability over the last 5 or 6 years, even though prices have gone up, that's hardly moved?
Right. Yeah.
And that level there, TJ, 180%, it looks like, of that 180 reading to the right, where we are now all the way to the right. Mm-hmm. What's that, around 180? Yeah, 184.
Yep.
So that means the median income can afford 184% of the median home price in your market. I would say that you've got a pretty freaking good market. Now, TJ, how much would I make on a home in this market based on appreciation rates and historical rates? Tell me.
Let's go. So our 5-year appreciation. There we go.
Hey, TJ, what if I was looking at a house specific to me and it was like 400,000? What if could you put up 400,000? Just scroll up a little bit and put in 400,000. Okay, just go right down.
Hold on.
Yeah. Just put in 400,000, and you don't have to do anything else. Just scroll down after you do. That's 40,000. We're getting there, folks.
Market. So
there you go. 400,000. So by the way, let me ask you this: if a home is priced competitively, and it's a hot house on the market, what do you think often happens? Do you think that there's multiple offers?
Absolutely.
So does that mean somebody's got to come in full price or maybe over asking price?
Yep.
Does anybody want to come in over asking price?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so if they had to come in $10,000 over asking price or $5,000 over asking price to get this home, will you think that green chart on the right might help them make that decision?
Absolutely.
You see that where they gain $82,000 over the next 5 years? And by the way, the historical rate for the last 43 years is 4.19%. And the forecast is 3.1, and the 5-year forecast is 20%. It's actually less than it's been for the past 43 years. So if somebody says, hey, you know what, TJ, how am I going to make $82,000 on the home? Well, that's actually less than what people have been making for the last 43 years. That forecast is actually lower than what it's been for the past 43 years. And when you take a look at this in your market, this is what sells homes. Team, people shop for a home visually online with their eyes. They like the home when they visit it. They become attached with their heart. But the decision to buy is done with their wallet or pocketbook, and nobody sells that way. Read every multiple listing description. Every realtor sells, oh, look at the hardwood floors, the granite count, all that crap. And what do mortgage professionals say? I'll get you approved on time, closed on time, great rates, great service. That's how we sell. All those are important. It has just nothing to do with the purchase process. This green chart has everything to do with the way people buy a home. Sell the way people buy.
Right.
So TJ, and then you got the job picture underneath. So, I mean, we don't have to go in depth in it, but this kind of shows you what somebody would be able to see. And then you can export this in English or Spanish and co-brand it with your realtor. Everybody wants this, folks. Everybody wants this.
Right.
You should be able to deliver it. And it'd take you less than 30 seconds to do. Why not blow your customer away in 30 seconds?
Absolutely.
And I could show you a quick cost of waiting if you want to. I could show you a quick cost of waiting.
Yeah, I love that one. If you got it up.
Let's see if I can do that here. So it says I'm sharing my screen, right? It says I'm receiving.
Gotcha.
Okay. So can you see me now? Can you see my screen?
There you go. Yep.
Okay, so you can see me now. Okay, good. All right. So, by the way, this was a buy versus rent that I put together here, and this is a buy versus rent that we did we'll just pick someplace out west. So let's just say you're in California. Let's go to Orange County, California. Okay. So if we go to Orange County, California, see, we know the cost to rent per square foot. We know the cost to buy per square foot, so we can tell you what a comparable rent would be in this market. But you could edit it to anything you want. Okay, you could put in your renter's insurance to anything you want. We know that rents around the country are going up at 4% a year, but we know specific to Orange County, it's 3.9%. We could see, okay, what if we did a 90 LTV, an 80 LTV, a 75 LTV? We put that in there. We put in our closing costs, whatever it is. We know the property taxes, so it pre-populates that. Mortgage insurance based on FICO score. So let's say if you got a 740 FICO, it's $154 a month. Here we know what the homeowner's insurance is. We know what the repairs and maintenance would be on this particular home. Let's tell them all the bad stuff. Show them a cost to sell 6%. So now that we have all that, how long are we going to look at this? Well, in 9 years is what they think they're going to be there. It's in California, Orange County. This is the historical and then the forecasted rate of appreciation. Let's show them their tax benefits, if there are any. Let's show them what it would be based upon their tax bracket. If you don't know their tax bracket, we do. You know their income. What's their combined income? Tells you their tax bracket. And then you got to be very careful, because if you're single, you're going to get a $25,000 tax deduction over the 9 years. But if you're married, your tax benefit over the 9 years combined, because the raise in standard deduction, it's $1,400. It's like roughly $150 a month is what you'd get as your tax deduction, folks. It's not a lot of money. Be very careful. People say, the mortgage is tax deductible. Be very careful. It's not what you think with the new tax laws. And here somebody might say, well, look, I'm going to rent. You know why? Because if I buy the home, it's $3,100 a month versus $2,400 a month renting. Renting's cheaper. It's better. But we know rents go up at 3.9%. And look what happens to the rent. It narrows the gap. Yes, it's more expensive to rent than it is to own, but you're going to gain $190,000 in appreciation, and that's just 3.65%. People think that's nothing. Well, it's everything. And then the best kept secret in the mortgage business, principal and interest. Interest goes to the bank. Principal goes to who? Who? Goes to the borrower. It's guaranteed. It's tax-free. Why are you keeping it a secret? It's $76,000 in this case. How much better to buy versus rent? $184,000, folks. $184,000. Wow, we want to keep that a secret from people? That 9% of the population and 300,000 people in this particular market who could buy because they're qualified, but they choose to rent. The only difference is they're looking at this difference. $700 a month cheaper to rent. I'm going to rent. They're not looking at this. What does an advisor do? An advisor shows them this. An advisor shows them the big picture. Quick look at the cost of waiting here. I want to show you this here. It's in our loan comparison tool. And by the way, there is so much freaking stuff in here, but we're going to go quick. So we're going to put this in here. Fish, we're going to put this in there for you, okay? And we're going to say that your purchase price is $500,000.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we'll give me a number in your market.
Right now, I mean, my city's probably about 325, pretty close to average.
So I'm going to say 350. You're in Michigan, Fish?
Correct, Michigan. Yep.
Give me your county.
Oakland County.
Oakland County. Okay. We know what your taxes are. Let's say you're talking about $100 a month for your home insurance. Now, you can compare different loans in many different ways and see which loan's better for you. We have all that. But because of time, we're just going to say, Fish, that you're looking at a 30-year fix. How many, what rate today, Fix? 4.75, let's just say?
Yeah, let's go 4.6, 4.7. Yep, sure.
Okay, and 0 points. That's my description. So let's put it in. 30-year fix, conventional, 4.75. We're going to say 0 points. Our down payment, we'll say 10%. Our monthly mortgage insurance, you've got a great FICO, so we're going to say $79 for monthly MI, and your closing costs will say $8,000. Okay, we're done. Now, if you want to, we can show you what the cost of waiting would be on this. So, Fish, you know, in your market, we know what the rates of appreciation are for 6 months, for 1 year, for 2 years, for 3 years. So that home you're looking at today would wind up 6 months from now costing you $355,000. And we know the MBA says today a 0 point loan is 4 3/4, but the Mortgage Bankers Association of America says 6 months from now, 0 points going to be 5 1/8. A year from now, 5 1/2. And that means that if you want to keep the same 90 LTV, you got to borrow more money at a higher rate, which is going to cause you to spend more. How much? Well, if you waited just 6 months, you're going to spend $107 a month more. $107 a month more. If you wait a year, it's $218 a month more. And by the way, that's not all. You would have lost $5,200 in appreciation and $2,400 in amortization. You're going to give up $7,600 and wind up paying $100 a month more every month going forward just by waiting 6 months. Just go ahead, take your vacation, wait, come back, buy a home. It's going to cost you. Why don't
That's
you do it now?
powerful. That's so powerful right there. And I don't think that we as a community are using tools like this enough.
You're not. You're not. Why? Because you're too good to wash your hands, or you're not willing to put the time in. That's why. Open your minds, team. Do the work. Do the work. Do it in your own market. How long did it take me to do this, Fish? How long did it take me? 2 minutes? 1 minute? So for 2 minutes, why not crush your competition? Why not gain a new realtor? What realtor doesn't want this in the hands of a customer? I haven't met one yet. I speak to 10,000 a year. Everyone I speak to drools over this. Haven't met one yet that says, oh, no, that'll make it too easy to sell a home. No challenge in that. I don't want it. What fool isn't going to use this? I mean, really?
Right.
Guys, I'm not some tech guy. I'm very tech savvy, especially for my age, but I'm not some tech guy coming up with something saying, I know what works. I poured a lot of sweat into this. I'm one of you. I know what people want. I know what realtors need. I know what they make us nuts over, and I know what helps sell homes. This sells homes. You have to be a financial advisor. You can't say I am and not be one anymore. Not if you want to win going forward. And if you tap into what motivates you, and if you want to make a better life for yourself, for your kids, for the person that you love, for your parents, people around you, you want to do good, put the work in. Put the work in. Not a lot. Do it.
Awesome. TJ, you got anything else, man? I'm just blown away.
I know we're wrapping up. I just want to share a couple of quick things that I've taken away from this. So one, first and foremost, is as an industry, we've got to stop selling and start advising, right? We've got to educate. Two, part of that is we've got to know what we're talking about. Too many of us, when we get to these tough times or tougher times than what we've had, we bury our head in the sand. We don't want to check out the markets. We don't want to see what the news is. We don't want to know what's going on because it just it makes us feel like, oh, crap, I'm not going to be able to sell a bunch of FHA Streamlines or Earls today, right? We got to be experts and know what's going on. Barry, you make it very easy to do those two things as far as being an expert and being able to advise it. And three, based off that 9% number, I've got over 22,000 people in my tiny little county that are renting that have the ability to buy, that I can be taking this information, these statistics, real estate report card, cost of waiting, all this kind of stuff. And what do we all do here that's watching this? We're all on the social media, right? We need to be blasting this information out over social media, building our brand, sharing this information, touching that 9% of people who are just think that it's okay that they should be renting right now. I don't care what size your county is, 22,000 people in my tiny little county, that is a hell of a lot of people that could be buying a house. And we saw our numbers, right? They got great income, we got great employment, we got great home prices here. So just take a look at the information, use it to your advantage. Barry, look, I've been using your service for a while now. And frankly, after what we just saw today, I feel like I know so much more. And I realize I haven't even scratched the surface of what we can do.
Because you're not too proud to wash your hands, right? We all want to learn. Listen, I just want to share one quick, if I can. I have time for one more quick story.
Absolutely.
Okay. So look, I put Rock of Ages on Broadway. I'm trying to bring it back as a smaller production in the fall. We're negotiating. Okay, it was a great experience. So we ran for 6 years. We did the movie and all that stuff. So it was kind of sad when we closed. But when we did, one of my hobbies was always singing. And you guys might know this, but I do sing in a band. Now we've got some amazingly talented people. I mean, our musicians are great, and we've got 2 other vocalists that are incredible. Okay, we had Constantine Maroulis from American Idol, and so I sing too. And look, in spite of me, we still sound pretty damn good. Okay, so we played some big events. Now, Wheels Up, the private aviation company, I'm close with Kenny Dichter. He's the CEO. And he's flown us out the last couple of years to play the big party before the Super Bowl. Man, it's awesome. We had J-Lo in the audience, okay? If you look at my Facebook, you'll see I brought Russell Wilson up on stage to sing with us. There's all kinds of fun times we had there, right? The morning of that event, which was the day before the Super Bowl, Kenny Dichter, the CEO, he calls me up. He says, Barry, I got something special for you. It's going to be special if it's from Kenny. He's guy's wired, okay? He says, you want to have breakfast with Bill Belichick? What? So, yeah, I want to have breakfast with Bill Belichick. Now, look, I'm born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, live in New Jersey. I'm a Giant fan, right? I like the Jets, too. So I always kind of felt that Belichick was like a dick, you know? But let me tell you, he is one of the nicest guys you'd ever want to meet, one of the nicest guys, one of the smartest guys. And people are going to have their opinions. I think he's the greatest coach in football history, okay, in pro football history. I do. I respect that much that he is. And a student of his, Nick Saban, could arguably be the best coach in college football history. Arguably. They'd have to be in the conversation, those two, right? Everybody's going to have their favorites. But you know what? What kind of a culture is he building? Okay? I mean, what kind of a culture? And he gave me so many things to think about and said so many things. One of the things he said to me, he said, Barry, even great players can't overcome bad coaching. Like, whoa. Wow, so many applications for that, right? So first thing I started to say is, am I doing a good job as coaching? Because, you know, I'm not too proud to wash my hands. I had all my sales team start to give me presentations. I went back and started recording stuff so we can get better, so we can do better. Because even great players can't overcome bad coaching. How are we coaching our customers? How are we coaching you guys? I made a whole different presentation that I'm going out and doing. Some of the stuff you heard me talk about here. Because I was inspired to want to do better. Because even great players can't overcome bad coaching, and I wanted to be the very best coach. How are you coaching your customers? How are you coaching your teammates? How are you coaching your employees? You have employees. How are you coaching your referral sources? Because even great players can't overcome bad coaching. Pretty cool stuff.
It's awesome. Awesome. All right, Barry. Well, we appreciate your time. I put a link for the MBS Highway in the chat comments. I'll make sure we post it again in the Mortgage Loan Officer Network group. I believe Megan on your team is going to help folks if they have any questions about getting set up. I'll make sure I'll go back and tag her so folks can reach out to her. But I mean, we really appreciate your time and your contributions to the industry and all the things that you do to help us be better. And certainly today's talk about being advisors, I mean, it rung true with me. I'm watching some of my own habits and saying, I gotta make sure that I'm spending more time practicing, like you said, recording yourself, making videos, getting your team inspired. It's things that we all know we need to do, but like you said, we allowed to take the shortcuts. So love it.
Can everybody who's listening just take a minute to thank these two guys for what they do? What they do, and you don't know this is coming either, but what you two guys do, it's thankless, okay? It's hard work. It takes effort, but you bring so many people together that can help each other. You can see how they just want to do good and they want to help you. We have you to thank for that. So I just want to commend you for what you're doing. That's what the industry really, really needs, man. So if you're listening to this, if you're part of the amazing groups that they've put together, take a minute to thank them because they deserve it, man. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate that, bud.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate that.
Really do. All right, Buzz, we're going to go ahead and turn it off. And again, find us in the groups if you need us.
All right, great stuff, Barry. Thank you. Fish, great job, man.
Thank you, guys.